Yay! So, Corona, race, Flux, and Trek time. That's Trekland Tuesdays Live, number 160. For this week coming up, I'm Larry Nemecek, Dr. Trek, coming to you right from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47, as we do every week here, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. Look, stay with me. Stay with me. If you're new to the show, hang on. We're going to have live Q&A after the midway break. We'll have the Patreon, the Parrot Analytics ratings for TV streaming. All of that will be after the break, and some reminders. Right now, I'm into the sermonette. And yes, hang with me a minute, okay? If you're oldsters, if you're veterans, you know what's coming. I know it's felt like the last 2 or 3 months. We may even be in a rut here, although it seems like it never goes away because there's something new every week. There's something new going on with the virus, an awareness, social justice and race are an awareness, thank God, and even an economy in free fall, repairing, trying to complicate or not complicate the other two. I really don't know, and I've said this as a history buff, I never got my degrees there, but it is good to see everybody, by the way. We will get to chat in just a little bit, but wow. I'm sorry, I mean, you know, you're living your life. This whole muck of stuff is affecting all of us, even here in Trekland. So I just wanted to kind of do a recap this week. I've got some real news going on, some reminders and real news, but, you know, we're all about connecting the dots here, hopefully in a new way. And brother, we've been churning out the dots faster than, I don't know. I mean, I was a kid. I was a wee bairn. But I don't know. I mean, even some of the major years of, you know, mind-numbing events like 2001. But that was all like coming at you from one angle, one direction, one awareness place. I want to say 1974 with Nixon's resignation. Major cultural whatever. But somewhere between 1968, everything with the assassinations and the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, and then it winds up in the Chicago riots and our politics, and winds up with Apollo 8 orbiting the moon. 1968 was one of those years. It's almost like, you know, yes, things happen. 1929, crash. 1941, Pearl Harbor. Set in motion all kinds of, you know, ripple effects that were well beyond the event of that one. But I don't know when we've had so many things coming at us from so different many angles. And yeah, I know this is supposed to be our weekly Star Trek get-together, but we're all living this stuff. We're all dealing with this stuff, well and good, right? Well, before I go any further, I just want to say a shout-out to all our Patreons. Our TTL Club, once again, thank you very much, is Blaze K and Lawrence Todd. And our live wires, Rusty Harold, Jared with 2 R's, Cooper, Halbern Gunderson, Mr. Vestek, and Jalen Bullock. Thanks so much. That's our Patreon supporters this month in the 2 categories, $5 and $10 a month. It's simple. I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit, because I want to get into this right now. I mean, look, I'm just going to go down the line here. The virus, guys, just wear a mask, okay? And if it somehow assaults your manly, nowhere else in the world does this somehow manage to afflict anyone's manly sense of honor or whatever the hell it is. Just wear a mask, because you know what? It's not about you, it's about everybody else. And I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know how you've avoided it, but half of the United States, anyway, is spiking insanely, including here in California, where we're supposed to be halfway sane about it. But I think we have enough pockets going on, and probably enough nursing homes or meatpacking plants or fill in the blank hotspots. So it's the point now where the EU is about to open up and maybe not let American travelers in because we're so out of control. Yeah. Go back and watch the first scene in The Newsroom from Aaron Sorkin a few years back. and you'll know what I'm talking about here. But no, I have hope. I have faith. I'm just saying it's a lot like The Quickening, and I love Sid to pieces, especially lately. But I don't think Dr. Bashir is going to come riding to the rescue and save us from this blight. We're going to have to do it ourselves and be a lot smarter about it than we have been until we can get our feet underneath us. And then, oh my God, Black Lives Matter and the fight for racial justice and the Band-Aid that's ripped off on so much else beyond just race, including the COVID disaster, the pandemic. So, yeah, Larry, get to the Star Trek. Get to the Star Trek. I know. I also want to mention that you should be aware that we've almost transcended Black Lives Matter and the term BIPOC, Black and Indigenous People of Color. The Spanish mission, the Father Junipero Serra, look, we were a transplant to California. So I didn't grow up with all the Spanish missions. My kids had to do the Spanish mission craft project in whatever, third grade or whatever it was. But I can see, my wokeness may be more about the indigenous. And I grew up in Oklahoma, but the California experience. But yeah, trying to pull down now in D.C. the Andrew Jackson statue. I mean, that's a little more extreme than taking him off the 20, but just as intentional. I've been wondering when we're going to catch up to realizing that, you know, Jackson committed some of the biggest ethnic cleansing ever in American history, as much as he's valued. He also opened the door to everybody, and people trashed the White House for his inauguration. I don't know if you knew that or not, aside from all the other historical bits. Yeah. Hope you're coming along well on that front. I'm also glad to see that in addition to the hashtag Trekkies Together, speaking of Star Trek, that all the Star Trek groups, not only the first wave, but a whole second wave of groups have been added now, if you're not keeping up with it. Trek Movie just did the update story. All urging people to donate to groups. My two were the ACLU, who's defending all kinds of people, as they normally do, for their rights. Protesters of all colors, especially black, not only who've been arrested insanely at protests, but, you know, been shot, and families of the dead. But also the Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks hate groups. We've got a big mulligan stew going on in this country. It's about time we actually stared it in the face. And as unsettling as these times feel, that's where we are. And yes, I know, Star Trek, Larry, Star Trek. Guys, I think I mentioned this a week or two ago. This is, you're living through, yeah, interesting times. And I just can't help thinking, I rattled off all those dates earlier. I don't want to sound like you're really bad high school coach history teacher, but it's more than about dates, but still those are reference points. And I just got to think, Star Trek, that at some point, I've said this before, that this is going to be one of those times when future Star Trek in 20 or 30 or 50 years from now, and yes, we'll have Star Trek in 50 years, of course we will, that these will be pivotal time travel dates, right? Future characters will be coming back to 2020. Although that sounds like such a cheap made-up date, people are going to want to come to 2019 to get there before it all blew up. People are going to come to December 2019 to see the coronavirus about to blow out of Wuhan, or wherever they wind up tracking an origin point, or the first one out of Wuhan. No, look, it is. We are living in interesting times, and we've got Star Trek on hold. We're all wondering, part of the mystery is wondering when we're going to have our Star Trek back. We're going to have wondering when our old Star Trek is finished. They're, God, heroically working on it, just like the entire entertainment industry is trying to do, and reinvent itself. And just like every other industry, the people at the head are going, okay, let's reopen. And the people who are customers, or the people who are making the wheels go, people who are shoveling the lithium into the engines are going, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know how it is where you are, or your industry, or your business. That's a big thing. But when we do get Star Trek back, you think 9/11 was something. You think the calls against violence in the 60s that led us to the Family Hour and, kid detectives and kid band detectives on Saturday morning cartoons back when we had them. You think that was a cultural upheaval? Wait till we see the cultural upheaval and then how it's depicted and how it frames and how it moodies Star Trek's to come. And we already know, Discovery season 3's done. Picard is in the Fluxy stage. The new animateds are a ways along. Strange New Worlds is just being birthed. I'm going to say that right off the bat, the first impact, even if it's unintentional, that we're going to see from these times we live in, is going to filter through as the episodes of Strange New World, and they've been at it for at least a couple of months, if not more, maybe even 6. Remember? Probably closer to 6. But how much these times are going to filter and affect those standalone, more optimistic Strange New World stories with Captain Pike. But you say, I want my optimistic Star Trek back. But you never have the light without the darkness. Even when those contrasts were turned way, way up on Discovery. People worried about Discovery, complained about Discovery being so dark. I tried to say, if it's going to be Star Trek, they're going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just going to be a long, dark tunnel. A long, dark tunnel. And it was. Season 1. Season 2, not so much. Season 3, every Star Trek's got to have a problem to solve. There's got to be a conflict. There's got to be a resolution needed. It's going to be interesting to see how this winds up coloring the system, the season, what kind of arcs there are, despite the standalone stories that return. And even more so, how this is going to affect, if it's not too late for season 1, season 2 of Lower Decks, and even hashtag NickTrek / yeah. Prodigal. Yeah. I mean, it's COVID, it's race, it's things in flux, including maybe our bank books, and it's a Trek time. It's as painful as this may be by the time we emerge on the other side. If we even recognize, if we don't just all these fronts, if we're not just in a perpetual plateau for a while, no quick fixes. We may look back at this and think the coming of the next great era of Star Trek, with all these buffet of choices, tones, and flavors to come. Back in way back in the ancient days of 2017, and we said, thank God the world needs Star Trek. Thank God it's coming back. We may not know what we'd wished for, Lieutenant, back in those days. The cavalry may just be coming over the hill just in the nick of time. Yeah. Now, in this roundup of events, I want to say right now that here in Trekland, we've been trying to respond to the COVID, to the coronary crazy time, to bunker hunker times, with some new projects, and you all been up with me on this since March, since April. So just a couple of announcements in case you hadn't heard. I said that was all for the duration. Hashtag good old World War II term. Dealing with uncertainty, trying to stay sane, trying to boldly go through uncertain times. Hashtag life support pod, life support live. But no, with non-fiction Fridays, our look at Star Trek non-fiction books, it's beloved, and our little coterie of regulars every Friday at 3 Pacific has been wonderful. I'm going to put a pause on that and wind it down for now. So just so you know, if you've been meaning to come by, this Friday is going to be the finale of Phase 1. It was going to be my simple little show, our simple little project, and we wound up having, Doug Drexler and Rick Stormbach and Phil Ferrand, the chief of Nitpickers Central himself, and Susan Sackett come by the last few weeks. This week, to wrap things up, we're having a show and tell. Bring your favorite that we haven't talked to in the first 10, 11 episodes. So I just want to throw that out there. If you have not gotten by Nonfiction Friday and meant to, join us Friday. I know, just in time to go away. There's a Facebook page, yada, yada, you know the drill. The other COVID caper that I got into, Life Support Live on Saturdays, is really growing. It's really evolving. I'm really proud of it. Dr. Ali Matu and Dr. Trek. One of us is a real doctor, helping you boldly go through uncertain times. Star Trek and mental health. And we have a lot of fun. Anybody that's been on there can attest. And yes, I will get to the questions. And yes, if you're on Twitch, I'm not ignoring you. Same thing with you guys on YouTube. I'm not ignoring you. We will do Q&A after the break. But just to say that I'm pretty proud of that show. We're going to keep growing it and growing it. And just to make the announcement, we said this last week, in case you didn't know, we are going to, since it runs to 90 minutes or so, and that's not always everybody's cup of tea, especially watching later on YouTube or Facebook. We are mounting life support live as a podcast. Because even though we're all pretty pictures, it's really all about the meat and potatoes of the words, and we think it works well as audio. We hadn't planned that, but that's where it's gone. So we're going to mount them as audio podcasts, in addition to keeping the live show going. So if you're a later, not a liver, maybe you prefer podcast to watching 90 minutes of video. Maybe so. Maybe that's handier and healthier for you. So yes, I just wanted to get that out there. That's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. British summertime, 7 p.m. Central Europe summertime, okay? That's Saturday. We're still watching to see what our theme is. As soon as I'm done here, I'm putting the theme poll up on our page. So go over and like the Facebook page for Nonfiction Fridays if you haven't already. Go do that, and within a day or so, a few hours, the poll for Saturday's theme will be up, and we'll really appreciate all the, I don't know, livers? I haven't come up with because that could be mistaken for livers. And that's a whole different situation. Yeah. So that's kind of what's up. The other thing that's going on, I didn't even hold up the logos, but you guys know. You guys know. The other thing that's going on, I mean, I mentioned this. Virtual has exploded, responding to the COVID, and now just in time to respond to our race and social upheaval. You know, let me just say this in Trek way. A lot of people have a lot of issue with phrases like Black Lives Matter, and you hear well, all lives matter. And of course, all life matters, IDIC. But IDIC presupposes we're going to value all life, but it also supposes within that we find everything worth not just tolerating, but celebrating every measure of diversity. And when there's been a deficit, you don't get to even if you're still lagging in some deficit somewhere along the way. We're just talking about boosting everybody so that we can have that idealistic. Even Edith Keeler, she was right. Peace was the way. She just didn't have the right timing. Right? So even when you are right with your idealistic, of course, generalism point of view, sometimes there's an adjustment needed to boost everybody up to the same plane, or else spikes can puncture your tires. So just throwing that out there. Yeah, I always like to go back to Edith's speech of all things when I see somebody having a problem struggling with that. But yeah, that is what virtual world is. My God, it's like 2015 out there. Instead of a new fan film every week, it's a new podcast every week. And that's awesome. That's wonderful. The world is streaming. We've had guests. I mean, we've been streaming. We've been using a free conference call for Portal 47 for 5 years. It'll be interesting to see in 10 or 20 years how much of this sticks and how much people who was there before. Not that it's a badge of honor, but it'll be funny to remember the crystal set radio people there before network radio came in, or the folks who had an 800 baud modem before everybody was live streaming. All this to say, there have been so much individual streaming, and all the conventions and agents that have stepped up. Shout out to Galaxy Con out of Florida, who's been putting up all these shows people have been enjoying, and many others, including moi here, including my friend Neil Halford, my DP on the Con of Wrath. Just want to remind here again, not saving this stuff for the end, guys. Want to say again that this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he has an event called Lockdown Con, where he was working 2 months ago at the first sign of the COVID shutdowns. as I was saying at the time, knowing we were going to shift to virtual and to see what that would look like. Well, this is kind of a replacement for Comic-Con San Diego not being there, although we have Comic-Con at home coming that I'm thrilled to be part of. You'll be hearing about that pretty quick too. But Lockdown Con is this weekend. You can go to the site, lockdowncon.com. On the site and YouTube and Facebook, there'll be a panel schedule of writers and creatives, authors and TV film writers and other creatives talking in different panels on Saturday at 2 p.m. Saturday at 2 p.m. Dr. Ali and I and Andre Bormanis will be joined by Jay Holtham from Supergirl and other series. We're going to be talking about, I don't have the title here, optimism in current science fiction. I know it's like Geek Girls. Wow, look at this hot new trend here among the dystopia. No, 1964 Star Trek, cough cough, and others. But is the time of the post 9/11 dystopia Wonderfest going to be ending because our real lives are getting dystopic? Like I said, 2017, we did not know what we were preaching and premonizing there. Thank God, Star Trek, the world needs you so much. Anyway, that's our topic. I hope you can join us at 2 o'clock Saturday, lockdowncon.com. And it'll show you if you prefer to watch on YouTube or Facebook Live. Please do. Speaking of Andre, I think we can say now, we just did a panel of, are you ready for this? 3 generations of Star Trek science advisors. Yes, I got Narain Shankar, he of the showrunner of Expanse, that I interviewed when he was little baby Narain. I should stop saying things like that because it makes me sound like one of the God images from Star Trek V. But Narain and Andre and the lovely and talented Dr. Aaron McDonald, that you know as Dr. Aaron from the cruises and STLV just the last couple of years, official as of last fall, the science advisor for all 6 current Star Trek series shown, known, or in development. It was a great panel. It was three generations of Take My Advice, Star Trek, Take My Science Advice. That's coming down. I think we can announce the date. I don't know, but that's the panel. It's coming down. I need to put some images up. We had a great time. It's just an hour. It's pre-recorded, so no Q&A. But that's coming down the pike. We've gone virtual crazy. Hello, 2020. Yeah. The corona race. All this flux, including the economy. And what a Trek time it is. What a Trek time it is. So, hang on. I'm going to take a break here in just a second. We will do Q&A after that. We'll do the Parrot Analytics ratings first. But just as a reminder, I do want to say, if you saw me thanking our Patreons at the beginning on that shout out, just to say that if you want to see what you can do to help, if you enjoy Trekland, if you enjoy me not being the same old, if you enjoy us looking at dots in a different way pertaining to Star Trek in and of, not just another screaming internet headline and maybe even some help to make you navigate all the madness out there. The big picture, sanity, and clarity of Star Trek. Join on my Patreon, patreon.com/TreklandLive. $5, $10 a month. You sign up to their system. It's the way lots of people support a lot of different kinds of creators the last few years. I keep it simple. It's not complicated because I have other projects too in various stages of development, as Doug Siemens would say. So I'd love it if you could come over, especially as the month ends up. The end of the month is when they basically do the billing. So if you've thought about jumping in, this is the time. This is the time. I appreciate the support. The support that shows up in all these live encounters now as they are coming and going, and who knows where we're all, heading with that. Also, this week's Trek Files is up. This is our podcast we've had from 2017, the Roddenberry Network. Thank you, Rod, and thank you, John. You can find it at the Trek Files on Facebook. We're the only podcast that gives you homework. Well, a document every week to look and read along with us as we go through Gene's files. This week, speaking of the devil, Dr. Aaron Mack is back with us, looking at the roots of data and contemplating What in the world they might have even been thinking had they known what was coming down the pike 30 years later. Yeah, with androids and AI and all of that. Shout out back to Roger Corby, though, and the old ones, androids, too. And yes, Raina. That's up. Trek Files on the hashtag on Twitter. And if you're a big podcatcher, you want to go to podcast.roddenberry.com. But that's up over on Facebook. Very simple. Very simple. Elsewhere, yeah. Hey, Nonfiction Friday is ending. It's the finale. It's Friday. That's what's happening this week, 3 p.m. Tuesday. Go to the Facebook page. You get the Zoom ID. It's just a Zoom meetup. It's pretty simple. And yes, I hope you can join us, if not live, then later. And now in podcast form, too, for Life Support Live on Saturdays, 10 a.m. I know, Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. British. It's on my Facebook, where you are right now. You can still watch on YouTube, my YouTube, and our Twitch. But Facebook's where the chatters are, guys. Facebook is where the chatters are. So, yes, hang on. I'll be back with questions and with the parrot ratings right after the break. But first, I want to tell everybody who's leaving now, it goes without saying, very simple. Stay healthy. Stay woke in all the ways. Check your sources. Most of all, trek well, everybody. All right. Now, I know the parents aren't quite what they look like. The parents aren't. The parrots aren't either. But as we follow this mnemonic that's been around for 10 years now, we've been watching it from, if you're new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, nothing special to me. I don't get paid. I'm not shilling. This is a company. Thank you. Shout out for the billionth time to John X for putting me onto this. They use their own algorithm. I know. I don't think it's going to take over the world, though. Their own algorithm of measuring internet activity. They call it the average demand expression. So they're not measuring eyeballs because it's streaming, and streamers don't let us know the eyeball numbers. We don't have the Nielsen's checking ad rates for the networks, and the whole world knows about it. So, yeah. Here's the top 10. About a month ago, they switched from raw ADE numbers, demand numbers, to a percentage of how popular it was based on the average model. And they are saying that of all streaming, and then of all shows, depending on what they're checking, in all these countries around the world, we're looking at the U.S. numbers for the past week that ended on Sunday. That what they define as an average show, that's 24.4% of all TV and streaming. So below average is, 24% are below average. 64% are average, just like your ABCDF scale, right? 64% are average, and 8.6% are good. 2.7% are outstanding, and only 0.2% are exceptional. Well, that's mainly where our top 10 lies. This is everybody. Come on, the streamers alone. This week, the top 10, Stranger Things, followed by, it's 64.7% more popular. It's in the exceptional range. Stranger Things, then 13 Reasons Why, The Mandalorian, Harley Quinn, Clone Wars, Titans, The Watcher, Doom Patrol, Stargirl, and Narcos, winding up at 29.9% more popular. I still don't like not having the raw numbers because we can't go back now and compare. There's no baseline. It's only in general terms that they give us. Wish they would change that. But that's the top 10. Overall, the overall demand numbers are down for everything, and Parrot is attributing that to everybody out and marching, or everybody in the hospital, which I prefer to think the numbers are still much larger for the prior. Here's the overalls numbers. The overall, digital and terrestrial broadcast cable, et cetera, et cetera. SpongeBob still number one. My Hero Academia, Game of Thrones, The Last Airbender, which is come back and boomed. Then Stranger Things and 13 Reasons Why from the digital list, Rick and Morty, The Flash, Monday Night Raw, and my granddaughter's early favorites, Paw Patrol. Yeah, a good mix of networks there. Nickelodeon, YTV, HBO, Netflix, Adult Swim, CW USA, and TVO Kids for Paw Patrol. That's it. Kind of a mixed bag. Everybody down. Trends are happening. You know, individual shows get hot for what's going on with the individual show. So there we go. And this time, as I remembered later on, I don't have to readjust, guys, because I got smart and I used my manual technology from here. So let's just, did I bump things? I think I bumped things. There we go. Okay. Let's check. I'm going to scoot back. If you're new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, I'm going to go back to the very beginning to the hellos and catch up the last 37 minutes or so. 30 minutes. If you're new, I'll try to say a shout out. It's always good to see everybody, all our familiar faces. I've got a lot of my Portales are here from Portal 47. A lot of our veteran Tuesday folks, and people maybe coming over from Nonfiction Friday, and even Life Support Live. Life Support Live. Especially you YouTubers and Twitchers, if you're stumbling in now, or if you've been patient, I'll try to catch up and see what everybody is up to. Oh no, I hope we didn't have... Oh, here's our early Twitchers. Did they stick with me? Did they stick with me? Okay. Just, I wonder if the Gibberish Patrol will take over Twitch. We'll see. Okay. Yeah. Yep, a lot of worries. I see a lot of concerns here about pandemic response, the COVID response. I think like everything else, the public's going to vote with their feet on a lot of this when it's too early. Brian says, next, talking about the Jackson statue, next we'll be renaming any towns called Jackson or Jacksonville or Jackson County or, yes. Well, you know, years ago in the Democratic Party, one of the big events for fundraising and get-togethers, they used to have Jefferson Jackson Day dinners. It was nice alliteration. And I noticed about 5 to 10 years ago, the Jackson got dropped. So, you know, good on that. Jackson was a populist, and a lot of people thought he went to Washington to give the establishment hell and shake up the bureaucracy. Sound familiar? And he let the people in on Inauguration Day, and they trashed the White House. He literally let people, it was a simpler time, the 1830s, let people in and they trashed the White House. Yeah, it feels like it's been 6 years of 2020. I told Chris Jones last night that I need to go back and look at my notes from the last 3 years. Oh, I mean the last 3 months. Yeah, Glenn, sit on the edge of forever. Harlan Ellison, so brilliant. Harlan and everybody who rewrote Harlan to make it fit format and be producible. Oh, I'm sorry some of you guys are getting stop motion on the audio. Rebecca, maybe. Daniel says, I wonder if there will be a year-long virus storyline in Picard Discovery. Sir Patrick already said at the outbreak of Corona, do not expect a pandemic, a token pandemic storyline. It's interesting. We're sitting here thinking, oh, Star Trek, respond to current events. And then it's like, well, yeah, but is that too on the nose? Do you do a disservice when you jump in? I mean, even even the Enterprise, for various reasons, even the Enterprise took a couple of years to really respond to 9/11. If you want to think about the Zindi year and the Expanse arc. Hey, Ben. Glad you could join us too, Ben Mund. Here we are. Rebecca. This is why we need Star Trek General Hospital featuring Dr. Crusher. Dedicated to the Brotherhood of Healing and the Sisterhood. I guess we should update that. Stephen, hey Stephen. Yeah, I heard about the shooting of protesters in Austin. Stephen's in the heart of Texas. I'm wondering how new content can even go into production without a vaccine. It doesn't seem like it'll be safe anytime soon, at least not in this country. Yeah, that's what all the guilds and unions are thinking about. It's, as I said once before, it's not enough to say craft service is going to give you donuts wrapped in individual containers. It's a little more complicated than that. Yep, Tim. I think optimistic Star Trek is in the cards, especially with Strange New Worlds, and maybe even as much as people are trying to read the tea leaves of Discovery Season 3, yeah, even maybe in a more so way there too. But certainly in we have enough in our real lives. Yes, it's going to feel like 60s on steroids here. Clayton, hi Clayton, says Disney Lucasfilm is fighting to wipe the Disney trilogy away into an alternate universe. Oh, and okay, not a Discovery and Picard fan. See, I totally see Discovery and Picard differently, and I don't wish Discovery away. In fact, we'll see what goes on and keeps happening. We'll also see what the audience is expecting. As our numbers shift. But I don't see, people lump Discovery and Picard into the same box all the time. I see them as totally different. I see Picard as far more, as a post-quell, I see Picard as fine. But we're all big enough to take a few opinions, aren't we? Right. Hey, Rusty. My gosh, it's been a while. Hope you're good. Yes, Glenn, this Friday at Nonfiction Fridays will be BYOB, Bring Your Own Book. BYONF book, Bring Your Own Nonfiction Book. Okay, got some definitely no votes here on Picard, but it's been out there for a while. We're not going to solve or change or talk anything today, except in broad terms, maybe. Oh, great, Stephen. Thanks a lot, man. We think Life Support Live will be great as a podcast. It may even fit better until, I don't know, the gene pool fills out and America learns to have a little bit longer attention span and watch longer than 10-minute videos. We'll see. All right. Apparently we have the rumor monger here, the fake news, privateer on Twitch. Hi, Zarathus. Zarathus? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Now let's not devolve here. By the time all 6 or 8 or 10 new Star Treks are out, there's going to be a different flavor. We're going to have to, as I've been saying, guys, it's time to, just the way Next Gen and the spin-offs were a whole paradigm shift away from just the original series. Our current buffet of Star Treks and different flavors is going to be a whole paradigm shift away from even the Berman era. And people used to fight over how too different DS9 was or how too different Voyager was. So let's just chill, okay? Especially here in my space. Everybody's got their favorites. People have things they don't like. And you know what? Time will tell. If we get to be 20 years and 4 people are left enjoying the Kelvin movies, so be it. But right now, it's too soon to do anything but have an opinion. State your opinion. But let's not have any knockdowns here, okay? I mean it. I hope this calms down. I'm behind you, right? Yeah. We'll let this. I'm just going to pass over and let you guys hash out the Disney Lucasfilm plot over there. You guys, did I really set off something with 300 baud modems? Sorry, Zarathus. I bet you didn't stay long enough. You missed me saying constantly that we're in 3 platforms. Facebook's the major platform. So I may have lost Zarathus. I got called OK Boomer. That's so cool. And I wasn't even a space pioneer. Oh, thank you, Brian. Hello, Brian. Cool. In fact, Life Support Live is a podcast. We're going to start with episode 1. We've only done 11, and we're going to post them all. It won't just be ongoing. So if you missed some of the earlier ones, yes, you're welcome to it. But we will be live on camera. Yes. What does God need with a showrunner? Thank you, Clayton. Thank you very much, guys. I hope more of you can join us for life support. Oh no, my monitor here, guys, if you guys have been having video issues at some places, my monitor here is fine on Restream, so, uh-oh, oh no. Thank you, Tim. I'll pass that along to Dr. Ali. Hello, Anna Sophia on YouTube. A rare YouTuber today. Oh no. We've got bad audio. I would almost pause and come back if I could. Boy. It sounds like it's everybody. Is there anybody, and I'm way behind, guys. What am I behind? I'm behind 15 minutes. Tell me if there's anybody that has a decent audio feed. This is going to be sad. Glenn says SpongeBob being #1 does not give me optimism about the maturity and judgment of the average TV audience. Yes, but remember, little kids in lockdown. Although they're measuring the internet activity connected to the show, so maybe that's not quite it. Hey, LT on YouTube, another Patreon, another TTLer. Oh gosh, I hope the Jackson liked a good free-for-all. Yeah. Okay, we've got our historical tech conversation going. Yeah, the pandemic story called The Walking Dead. But that was like post-pandemic. They didn't show them getting through that. Did it all happen overnight? I think it did, or something. Give me 60s on territory. Hi, Ethan Tamari. On Twitch. We'll see. Lots of scenes with spacesuits on. Yeah, Brian, that's how we do it. Every show is Star Trek on the hull. That's what we do. Justin says, maybe it's just you, but does it seem like every other post on Facebook Trek pages are asking about season their Discovery? Well, why not? It's kind of the next thing up. And people are wondering. And they keep talking about they're working as fast as they can, someone said the other day. A buffet of Star Treks. Yeah. Yep. I think we said that years ago, and just in the last few weeks, it's kind of come back again. Well, my thing, I'll finally say this about Discovery. I had a lot of issues with it. But here's the thing. You can have issues with something, but the ship at some point sails. So you either just don't watch it and don't consume yourself with it, or you make a list of all your criticisms and you can give them when asked, or you wonder if the show somehow evolves, because some of the other Treks have greatly evolved too. And it is, in fact, doing that. Season 2 was remarkably different than 1. And you remember that TV was not handed down from Apollo on Pollux 4. And that, there is a story to all TV series. That's why getting to know the behind the scenes is not just trivia. It's really helpful. And that's why Portal 47. And that's why we do behind the scenes books. And that's why half of Nonfiction Friday is contents are so revered. Yeah. So sometimes if you understand, it's like a people. If you see somebody who's horrible, if you see somebody who is atrocious, even somebody who's committing illegal acts of hurt, if not hate, yeah, it's the trite thing to say, well, look, how were they raised? What was their life like? Maybe you don't forgive them fully. Maybe you're not that competent a Christian or whatever your religion is about mercy and forgiveness. But maybe it tempers if it doesn't temper your opinion or your attitude toward that single person, maybe it gives you some understanding, some texture to understand the next time you see that same behavior or attitude in another person. And what we do with single people, this sounds trite, and I'm not trying to bring down individual relationships, but it's the same way with entertainment programs, which are made up by humans, and which strive to, be good, i.e. make a profit, bring people acclaim and fame, let people exercise their creative muscle, hopefully in a synergistic way where everybody's doing all of that. And sometimes it doesn't go quite right, because not everything is born and created perfect, but understanding the why is great, whether we're going with people or TV shows, or governments or social movements, for that matter. Wow, this is not what I thought we'd be doing when I started this in early 2017. Who'd have thought, right? Some folks are Brian says, now I have modem sounds in my head. Talk about the baud modems. Have you ever watched any of my old switching to visual videos, my interview videos? That's what my opening sound is a dial-up modem starting up. Of course I wear the OK Boomer badge with pride. I wear the OK Boomer Sooner badge with pride. What do you mean? That's why I think it's funny. There's a chunk of the country that just thinks that whole thing's hysterical. Okay, Tide Pod Eater. There you go. Yeah, I feel I need to put some bots up on Twitch. Free Wi-Fi anywhere. I guess that's a social movement. It should be. It should be. I'm sorry for the sluggish video, guys. Yeah. Oh, it's okay on YouTube. Well, there you go. Audio, fine. Yeah, I'm talking about video. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the sketchy video. Okay. The YouTubers are saying no problem. Ben Munn says, yes, you see a Star Trek companion back behind me. Where's my ring-bound Enterprise Officer's Manual? It's right over there. I don't have a ring-bound Officer's Manual, but I've got a ring-bound technical manual, original series, unless you mean the red plastic Officer's Manual. They're all over there. They're all over there on the big book nonfiction shelf. The little book nonfiction books are all right there. Yes, Glenn, bring it along. The International Officer's Manual. Okay, do that. Yeah, the score is being pieced together. I think I'm down to the end of the questions, guys. Hey, Mr. Bounce Out with that fofo. It's a live stream. Trekland Tuesdays live. It's a Star Trek based show, but you are alone in Twitch, but our main forums are Facebook and also on YouTube are live too. So man, there you go. There's your individual Twitch shout out. I'm on Twitch just to give people a break, and who knows what we catch. So guys, yeah, I know I was kind of handing you a big ball of clay topic this week. I keep, and I've got some coming down the pike, no pun intended. And you know, we've got news. The Treks are going to keep emerging from the COVID fog, and we're going to start having shows again. Not that I want to jump on the grandstand of the headline outrage, horror, stupid thing of the week, but we'll get back to looking at Trek, I think, within a month, hopefully. And you know, we've got all the issue of the virtual cons and the cons going away, and are people going to, whether it's conventions or any event, whether people are going to go there just because they're allowed, or whether, as Will Rogers said, the big common sense of the real normal majority is going to weigh out. Or as the 2,000-year-old man would say, fear. Fear is the main source of propulsion. Yeah. Reagan would say, trust but verify, which is also good in corona pandemic times. Oh, yeah. I think we're done with our questions. Guys, thanks. It's been kind of an interesting day. It's interesting times. I long for the days when I can have a thunderbolt single issue topic. It just feels like everything right now is bound up with everything else, right? Even our Star Trek, just the physical delivery of it, much less the tonal. The tonal's done until we get on down with the newer episodes. But until then, we're just living in this big mulligan stew of a world right now, including our future Treks. And it's, you know, it is what it is. So yes, yeah. Just guys, give a listen to the Trek Files if you can. It's some science and roots data with the great Dr. Erin, if you want to do that. And just know that she's the guiding hand. If you're following all these people, all these creatives now, sure, you're following Marina and Jonathan and all that, but check out the creators of all the shows now, including the animated series. There's all kinds. That's where 3/4 of the scoops of all the incestuous internet come from. It's just reading everybody's Instagram and their Twitter feeds. But anyway, seriously, if you really want to help all things Trekland here, our simple Patreon is $5 and $10 a month. A shout out and $10 is a shout out and access to old interviews. And yes, I know all you live wires, I am behind on updating that. I need to get on it. Tell the world to go away and pause again, okay? Shout out once again to everybody, all of our TTLers and our live wires, including that extra R for Jared. Right. Meanwhile, I hope you will this Friday or Saturday. In fact, what you're going to do, right, if you've got the time, we've got the Mexican beer. You're going to go to support live at 10 a.m. Pacific time. You adjust for your time. Measure it in your years. 10 a.m. And then at 2 p.m. Pacific, head over to Lockdown Con. And Andre and I and Ollie will be back on a panel with Jay Holtham. Optimism, as a matter of fact. Optimism. Yep. And, of course, it's for now, the finale of Season 1. I don't know what Season 2 will look like. But it may go back to being just an Instagram story for a while. We'll see. Friday at 3 p.m. if you want to bring your favorite non-Trek fiction Trek book along with us. Otherwise, guys, it's at Larry Nemecek on Twitter and YouTube, as you know if you're on YouTube. And it's Larry Nemecek's Trekland on Instagram, as well as my Facebook, if you're on Facebook with us right now. And if you really want to help, not just support everything Trekland that I do, but enjoy a great community, this bunch and more, around the world, as you've seen. and we deep dive into all the Star Trek you have no idea that you had no idea about. Portal 47 is your bag, portal47.net. It's supposed to be a weekend special, but I tell you what, if any of you watching today on Tuesday, it was my third Tuesday special last week, but hey, it's Corona time. We all need a break. That's what the little 3 for 2 special is about. Go to LarryNemecek.com, click on the 3 for 2 special. Do it now. I'll take it. Okay? We're still in Corona time. So once again, guys, thanks everybody for being here. Everybody in your own way. You know, stay healthy, stay sane, stay woke, do all the stays. Just look out for yourself and each other. And if you're really observing lockdown, if you're really observing stay at home all you can, and even if you're not, at least take a mask. You wear a seatbelt. I mean, you wear shoes to avoid ringworm in the streets. I mean, how long does mask wearing have to be around before people finally accept it? I know people still hate motorcycle helmets, but, you know, statistics don't lie. Just like with the corona. As long as we can get accurate statistics. I'm looking at you, Governor of Florida, DeSantos, or whatever the hell his name is. Anyway, guys, yeah. Whatever you do, trek well, everybody. Oh, there we go.